Hi everyone. All right, so I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how I day traded today. And I'm also going to be showing you guys how to come out of a losing trade happy. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm going to be day trading micro ES futures today. So essentially we're day trading the price of the S&P 500. For chart setup, if you're using extended trading hours, you'll want to change that to regular trading hours. I'm going to be day trading the New York session as well. It starts at 9:30 New York time. My local time, it starts at 10:30. And we're going to be using one indicator on our chart. It's going to be the VWAP line. Here are the settings for it. I'm pretty sure it's unadjusted. I don't think there's any changes I've made to this. Very simple. We're going to be day trading on the 5-minute time frame as well. And the first thing that I do every single day is I wait for the first 3 5-minute candles to print and close. And then I take a rectangle tool and I cover them from the bottom of the lowest wick out of those 3 candles to the top of the highest wick. And this box here forms what I like to call our opening range. And we're going to be taking one day trade today. I take one trade every single day. And we're going to be taking that trade based on how price is reacting to that opening range box. And so the first thing that we do after the box is created is we wait for price to break out of the box, either through the top or the bottom. Today it happens to be through the top. The first type of setup I look for when price breaks out of the top is what I call a continuation setup. And that's usually if price breaks out of the top of the box, comes back down, and continues upwards. Now, price broke out of the top of the box, and I didn't get any continuation setups for about 35 points. 35 points outside of the box, and no continuation setup has appeared. And so because of that, I'm officially now looking for a reversal. That's whenever I feel like price is coming out of the box too far, too quickly, and is going to run out of energy and return back down towards either the VWAP line or the opening range box. Also, price has been moving up pretty consistently since late last week and really hasn't had a pullback or anything like that since, so it's bound to reverse back down and take a bit of a breather before it continues on moving upwards. So I'm expecting what's called a reversal. The first thing I need when it comes to a reversal is I need no continuation setup for at least the first 30 points, which we get. I need a sign of reversal, which is at least 2 candles in the opposite direction. So we got 2 consecutive bearish candles here, showing us that price may possibly be coming back down. After that sign of reversal, I then need price to pull back, which in this case is upwards. So price then pulls back. It even surpasses the sign of reversal, which is usually a good sign. And after the pullback, I need a confirmation candle. A large, powerful candle with fairly small wicks and a large full candle body. A candle that screams it's going to be heading back down. This is the candle that I chose for that today. This candle looks fantastic as a confirmation candle. It's got a fairly small wick at the top, barely no wicks at the bottom, a full candle body, and it's powerful into the downside, and it comes just a few candles after our sign of reversal. And the only thing that wasn't great about this candle was its overall size. It was only about almost 7 points. We'll call it 7 points. Usually most confirmation candles that I'm taking records of are typically between 10 and 15 points, usually. But regardless, I decided to enter short and enter for a reversal short. I only enter trades on the close of my confirmation candle. I use a 1 risk to reward ratio trade setup. So for that, I pull my stop loss to the top of the pullback for about a 6.5 point stop loss. I take my take profit, I pull it down for a 6.5 point take profit. So my stop loss is always the same size as my take profit is always the same size as my stop loss. And as you guys can see, this was a losing trade. So price continued on up despite my beliefs that it was going to reverse down, despite my thoughts that it was going to run out of energy. And it continued on up and basically did so for the remainder of the day. Very unlikely. It's not something I see very often. Typically, my reversal setups have a bit more of a higher win rate than my continuations, usually between 70 and 80% win rate on a reversal setup. They're less common than continuation setups. And today just happened to be the 30 or 20% chance that I'll get a loss on a reversal setup. And so there's nothing wrong with this. Losses happen, they're part of trading, and there's absolutely no success in trading whatsoever without losses. They're 100% part of the game, and you need to make losses a part of your strategy. There's no getting around that. Next, I'm going to talk about how to come out of a loss happy. This might not be something that many of you are familiar with, especially if you're new traders, but there's a golden rule in day trading or trading in general, and that golden rule would be the better loser you are, the better you'll be trading. I've heard that said in many different ways. I'm probably messing it up, but the better loser that you are, meaning how you take your losses and being a good loser, is going to be directly correlated to how much success you find in your future of trading. And so in order to be a good loser, in order to come out of your losses still in a positive frame of mind, there's only one way that you can do that. And that one way is to have executed your setup and your rules to a T, to know within yourself that you didn't take a stupid trade, that you didn't take a trade that was an impulse, and to know that you gave yourself the absolute best chance based on your setup and based on your rules to take a winning trade that day. So I know that I waited for all of the things that I needed. I know that I waited for price to move up 30 or more points without a continuation. I know that I got a sign of reversal. I know that I got a pullback, and I know that I got a confirmation candle that was all within my setup. None of it was impulse, none of it was guesswork, none of it was made up on the spot. These were all things that printed almost textbook to what I would usually look for in a reversal. None of it was incorrect, and none of it was done on a whim. And so because of that, I know that I entered the best trade that I could have at that very time. There's one thing that probably would have upset me a little bit today, and it's if price would have continued on after my loss and I would have gotten a better confirmation candle that I probably should have waited for. As I mentioned earlier, this confirmation candle wasn't very large. That was probably the only downside about it, but it looked fantastic. It just wasn't as large as what most of my confirmation candles usually are. And if, let's say, a confirmation candle between 10 and 15 points would have printed itself after that loss, I would have thought to myself, man, I gotta take note of that because I entered on a candle that wasn't as good as what it could have been if I would have been a little bit more patient. But if you guys take a look, nothing really printed any better than what I had during the setup for the remainder of the day. We had a couple bearish candles up here, but by that time it was 2 or 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and I would never take a trade that late in the day. So this was the best setup that I had access to today for reversal. And because of that, I have absolutely no negative feelings about this loss today. It's perfectly fine. It's what I would call an honest loss. I did everything as honestly as I could in terms of my own setup, and it just didn't happen the way that I wanted it to. And that's 100% part of trading. And so with that being said, that's really the only thing that I have to say here for this video, guys. That's how I day traded today. It was a losing day trade. I'll be back tomorrow to trade again. And make sure that when you guys are taking your setup, that everything was followed to a T. And if it was, and if it's a loser, there's no reason to be upset. Simple as that. Thanks for watching.